The popular notion about marriage and love is that they are synonymous, that they spring from the same motives and cover the same human needs. Like most popular notions, these also rest not on actual facts but on superstition. Marriage and Love by Emma Goldman. Marriage and love have nothing in common. They are, as far as the poles are, in fact, antagonistic to each other. No doubt, some marriages have been the result of love. Not, however, because love could assert itself only in marriage. Much rather is it because few people can completely outgrow in convention. There are today large numbers of men and women to whom marriage is not but a farce, but who submit to it for the sake of public opinion. At any rate, while is it true that some marriages are based on love, and while is it equally true that in some cases love continues in married life, I maintain that it does so regardless of marriage and not because of it. On the other hand, it is utterly false that love results from marriage. On rare occasions, one does hear for a miraculous case of married couple falling in love after marriage, but on close examination, it will be found that is a mere adjustment to an inevitable. Certainly, the growing used to each other is far away from the spontaneity, the intensity, and beauty of love, without which the intimacy of marriage must prove degrading to both the woman and men. Marriage is primarily an economic arrangement, an insurance pact. It differs from the ordinary life insurance agreement only in that it is more binding, more exacting. Its returns are insignificantly small compared with the investments. In taking out an insurance policy, one pays for it in dollars and cents, always at liberty to discontinue payments. If, however, woman's premium is a husband, she pays for it with her name, her privacy, her self-respect, her very life, until death do us part. Moreover, the marriage insurance condemns her to lifelong dependency, to parasitism, to complete uselessness, individual as well as social. Man, too, pays his toll, but as his sphere is wider, marriage does not limit him as much as woman. He feels his chains more in economic sense. Thus, Dante's motto over Inferno applies with equal force to marriage. The one who enter here leave all hope behind. Nor will the stereotype Philistine argument that the laxity of divorce laws and the growing looseness of women account for the fact that, first, every 12 marriage ends in divorce. Second, that since 1870 divorces have increased from 28 to 73 for every 100,000 populations. Third, that adultery since 1867 as ground for divorce has increased 270.8%. Fourth, that desertion increased 369.8%. Edward Carpenter says that behind every marriage stand the lifelong environment of the two sexes, an environment so different from each other that man and woman must remain strangers. Henrik Ibsen, the hater of all social charms, was probably the first to realize this great truth. Nora leaves her husband, not as the stupid critic would have it, because she is tired of her responsibilities or feels the needs of women's rights, but because she has come to know that for 8 years she had lived with a stranger and borne him children. From infancy, almost the average girl is told that marriage is her ultimate goal. Therefore, her training and education must be directed toward the end. Like the mute beast fattened for slaughter, she is prepared for that. Yet, strange to say, she is allowed to know much less about her function as wife and mother than the ordinary artisan of his trade.
The prospective wife and mother is kept in complete ignorance of her only asset in the competitive field, sex. Thus, she enters into lifelong relations with a man only to find herself shocked, repelled, outraged beyond measures by the most natural and healthy instinct, sex. It is safe to say that a large percentage of the unhappiness, misery, distress, and physical suffering of matrimony is due to the criminal ignorance in sex matters that is being extolled as a great virtue. Ours is a practical age, that time when Romeo and Juliet raised the wrath of their fathers for love, when Gretchen exposed herself to the gossip of her neighbors for love, is no more. If on rare occasions young people allow themselves in luxury of romance, they are taken in care by the elders, drilled and pounded until they become sensible. It is not important whether the husband is a brute or a darling.
She could not go if she wanted to. There is no place to go. Besides, a short period of married life, of complete surrender of all faculties, absolutely incapacitates the average woman for the outside world. She becomes reckless in appearance, clumsy in her movements, dependent in her decisions, cowardly in her judgment, a weight and a bore, which most men grow to hate and despise. But the child, how it is to be protected, if not for marriage? After all, it is not the most important consideration. The sham, the hypocrisy of it. Marriage protecting the child, yet thousands of children destitute and homeless. Marriage protecting the child, yet orphan asylums and reformarities overcrowded. Society for Prevention of Cruelty to Children keeping busy in rescuing the little victims from loving parents to place them under more loving care. The Jerry Society, the mockery of it. The law will place the father under arrest and put him in convict's clothes. But has that ever stilled the hunger of the child? If the parent has no work, or he hides his identity, what does marriage do then? It invokes the law to bring the man to justice, to put him safely behind closed doors. His labors, however, goes not to the child, but to the state. The child receives but a blighted memory of its father's stripes. As to the protection of the woman, therein lies the curse of marriage. If motherhood is the highest fulfillment of woman's nature, what other protection does it need save love and freedom? Love, the strongest and deepest element in all life, the harbinger of life, of hope, of joy, of ecstasy. Love, a defier of all laws, of all conventions. Love, the freest, the most powerful molder of human destiny. Free love, as if love is anything but free. Man has bought brains, but all the millions in the world have failed to buy love.
Yes, love is free. It can dwell in no other atmosphere. In freedom, it gives itself unreservedly, abundantly, completely. Love needs no protection. It is its own protection.
Ibsen must have had the mission of a pre-mother when, with a master stroke, he portrayed Mrs. Alving. She was an ideal mother because she had outgrown marriage and all its horrors, because she had broken her chains and set her spirit free to soar until it returned a personality regenerated and strong. In our present pygmy state, love is indeed a stranger to most people, misunderstood and shunned. It rarely takes root, or if it does,
it soon withers and dies. Someday, men and women will rise. They will reach the mountain peak. They will meet big and strong and free, ready to receive, to partake, and to bask in the golden rays of love. What fancy, what imagination, what poetic genius can foresee, even approximately, the potentialities of such a force in the life of man and woman? If the world is ever to give birth to the true companionship and oneness, not marriage, but love will be the parent.